It was the early 2000s, the internet was exploding in popularity, portable music players were selling like crazy, DVDs were becoming popular, and Sony releases their successor to the original PlayStation console, the PlayStation 2. And it went on to become one of the best-selling game consoles of all time. In fact, this console became so popular that it even drove Sega out of the console business. As a successor to the original PlayStation, it shared a lot of similar components, including the disk drive, controller type, and memory card type, and it was even backwards compatible with its predecessor. The controller remained mostly unchanged from the original PlayStation, except it was available in more colors and had pressure-sensitive buttons. Since it used the same connector, it was also compatible with both consoles. Sony kept this controller design with the PS3 until 2013 when they released the PlayStation 4. While the PlayStation had a CD-ROM drive, the PS2 had a DVD-ROM drive, and it was even capable of playing DVD movies. This capability is also what contributed to its success, as many people simply bought a PS2 as a budget DVD player. PS2 games were stored on either CDs or DVDs. CDs could hold around 700 megabytes of data, and DVDs could hold around 8 gigabytes. Save data was stored on memory cards, just like the original PlayStation. Most memory cards could hold 8 megabytes of data, but some third-party memory cards can go at higher capacities, like this 64 megabyte card. The front of the console has 2 memory card ports and controller ports. There's also 2 USB ports, and some consoles also had an iLink connector. There's also a power switch, an eject switch, and there's a disk drive. The back of the console had the power input, video output, optical audio out, and there was a large expansion bay slot. This expansion bay was used for the optional network adapter and hard drive. Not many games utilized the hard drive. It was only really used for Final Fantasy XI, SOCOM maps, and for installing Linux. Sony released the PS2 Slim in 2004. This PlayStation did not include the iLink connector or expansion bay, but it did include an Ethernet port on the back. It also had a top-loading disk drive compared to the tray-loading drive on the original model. Inside, the console had decent specs at the time. Every PS2 shipped with the Emotion engine, which was a 295 MHz CPU. Next to the Emotion engine was the graphics synthesizer, which, as the name suggests, handles video output, and it shows off the console's amazing looking 3D graphics at the time. The system also shipped with 32 megabytes of RAM. Most games output a resolution of 480i. Some games can also output at 480p, widescreen, and there are even a few games, including Gran Turismo 4, that can output 1080i. Keep in mind, this was a time before modern flat-screen HD TVs became the norm. The PS2 released in 2000 for $299, and it sold so well to the point where it is extremely difficult to find the console on store shelves. Sony's competitors, Nintendo and Microsoft, came in a year later and released the GameCube and Xbox. All three consoles had their ups and downs. The Xbox had networking and a hard drive built in, and the GameCube was 2/3 the cost of the other consoles. As with any other game console, a game console is nothing without its games. The PS2 had a library of over 4,000 titles, everything from console exclusives to PC ports to cross-platform titles. It was also the system that started the 3D universe of the Grand Theft Auto series, and every mainline GTA game at the time would release first on the PS2, and then on PC and Xbox. A well-known racing game like Gran Turismo saw more success and sales on the PS2 than any other PlayStation system. Many new game franchises at the time, including God of War, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet & Clank, began on the PS2, with some still receiving games on newer consoles like the PS5. If you're a fan of the Call of Duty franchise, the PS2 had that too. With some performance issues, not every game performed perfectly, especially compared to other consoles like the Xbox. While Gran Turismo was successful on PS2, other racing games also saw success. There were other racing games that may not have been as realistic as Gran Turismo, but are still fun to play. This includes the Need for Speed series, Burnout, Midnight Club, Pixar Cars, Splashdown, and many more. If you're into role-playing games, there's Final Fantasy. The PS2 had 10, 11, and 12. 11 is unfortunately no longer playable. If you like sports, there's Madden NFL, Pro Evolution Soccer, WWE SmackDown, and Tony Hawk. Okay. There's just so many games, I clearly cannot fit all of them in this video. Curious how these games looked? Well, I can definitely showcase a few.
position. The building's coming down.
While the PS2 wasn't a perfect console, it wasn't that bad either. It had a great selection of games and features, and Sony even continued to support it up until 2013. Before I end this video, there are a few issues I would like to discuss. One issue is that all consoles are region locked. Console manufacturers and sold in the US can only play US based games, and Japanese consoles can only play Japanese games. Consoles sold in Europe can only play European games. This is very common for most game consoles sold around this time, and there are some workarounds for this, including soft modding and dumping your games to your hard drive, or you can take the hard modding approach and install a mod chip. Another issue is that some games, especially cross-platform titles, tend to run at a lower frame rate or with worse graphics on PS2 compared to other consoles, and this is due to the system having less memory and processing power compared to the GameCube and Xbox, which both of them actually came out a whole year later. Picking up a PlayStation 2 today is not that expensive. You could find systems for around $100 on eBay. That's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you guys later.